Hi, Eric Gibaud, and today I want to speak to you about a way of metering light to optimize your raw file, get the most details as possible when you're going to develop it. Well, there are two French YouTubers that are fighting over this, both telling they invented or they were the first to use it or whatever. Well, doesn't matter. I don't want to get into their fight. I want to speak about this system to see if it works or not, because many people comment on their YouTube channel that it doesn't work for them. So we need to see that. So the system basically is you use a handheld light meter, you point at the light, you increase your exposure by 1.33 EV, and you need to work in raw file and develop the raw file in linear mode. So we're going to see if it works. So let's start. This way of measuring light is not to get the correct exposure. It is to get the exposure to have the raw file optimized for post-production. So if someone tells you, I use this method and I don't retouch my picture, this is not true. From the second you change a curve, you change contrast, you change highlights, you change anything, this is already retouching. Obviously, for that person, retouching is just removing a spot on the forehead on someone. Obviously, this is not retouching, but yes, it is. Okay, it is. You actually interfere with the original file, so you cannot tell this is a file out of camera because it's not out of camera. It is modified afterwards. Okay. Second, if you're not prepared to spend some time in post-production, it doesn't take long. But if you don't want to spend even this short time on post-production, then the system is not for you. And second, if you need to work in JPEG for whatever reason and not in RAW file, this is not a system for you either, because you need to have RAW files, okay? But that's important. This is not for the correct exposure, but to have an exposure prepared for developing the raw file with maximum details in highlights and shadows. Well, to be able to show you if it works, doesn't work, or when it works, it's important to tell you the situation. To compare, we need to have spotlight and diffused light. So for spotlight, you could use the sun, and for diffuse, you could have a diffuser between the sun and your subject. But the problem is outdoor, they may be cloudy, the sun may change, all this, so it's really hard to be stable to show the results. So I decided to use a flash, Westcott FJ400, with just a bulb when I wanted to have spotlight, and with a double diffuser, which is two piece of fabric, 2.1 meter, separated. There's a space between each other, so it really diffuse the light really nice, so we can compare. Second, we need to have the subject. The subject needs to have white with texture and dark deep black. So for the white, I use some polystyrene, I don't know how you call that, a sheet that is vertical, another one that is horizontal. It's white with texture, so we can see if we lose or not texture. And for the black, it's fabric this is velvet that actually capture all light. It's within a small box, so this way we see if we can still see some details there or not. And then there's a color checker, then there's a strip of gray tone and a strip of colors, so we can see the results. Regarding the camera, I decided to use my Fujifilm GFX 100S2 because the sensor has a really high dynamic range. So if it doesn't work for that camera, it would not work for any. And if it works for this one, then I have to check other option. So I used it. We see sometimes it works, sometimes it's really limit. And then I used with a 110mm ISO 80, which is a minimum. And then we decided with a friend, I was doing the testing, to use his Canon R camera to see if it would work or not. Regarding measuring lights, I use my Sekonic 478 with incident ball for the incident light. And then we need to speak about software. These guys say it works with Capture One. Okay, but many people don't have Capture One, so we need to see if it works for other software. So I also use Iridium to see if it works, and also Lightroom to see if it works, and also a RAW analyzer to see if it was a problem with the raw file or a problem with the developer. So now I'm going to show you how I do it, analyze together the result, and tell you my opinion, obviously. But obviously the system is no good, okay? So let's carry on. So let's play. First, we need to measure light. It's important, as Dean Collins explained decades ago, you need to have this pointing at the light source, not the camera. If you point at the camera, forget about the test. It's already all is, overexposed always, okay? To the light, really important. Then I measured the base, what the light meter was telling, and applied to my camera at 80 ISO 80 1/125th of a second. And then after the first picture, that was the reading, open the aperture 1/3, then 2/3, then one stop, then one stop and a third, then one stop and 2/3, and two stop. And this way we can see the result to see how far we can go and not overexpose the white with texture. Then we got some result and we decided to try with the Canon R. So we see the result also. Before developing the raw file, I want to analyze them because I've got the doubt. Does this work? When it works, thanks to the way of measuring light, or does it work because post-production, developing the raw file fixes it? Big question. So we're going to get into the fast raw viewer and see, analyze at one stop and a third if the file is already damaged, and probably our friends at computering will have to fix it, or is it still okay? So let's check this. So let's check first we do with a harsh light, okay? No diffuser. So first we check the light with no diffuser, harsh light. As you can see, F8, which was the reading of my light meter. And here I've got 0 overexpose, okay? If I go to 1/3, I think there was a problem with recycling the light, the flash, because the following one gives the same picture, but this one is the right one. I already have 0.02% on 1/3 of a stop extra. It is acceptable, okay, but it's already started to be losing some details. 2/3, I think the flash didn't recycle yet. That's why it's not more overexposed. But if we see 2/3 of the stop, it's 0.91%. That sounds really little, but it is already a loss of details or small details. If we go to one stop and a third, sorry, which is what they recommend with their system, we speak about 2.16% overexposed. This figure sounds really small, but they are not small because you lose small details, okay? Now let's check soft light. We're going to go straight to the F5, which is what they recommend. And you can see it accepts more tolerant, 0.010% instead of 2.37, I think, or 87, can't remember, more than 2%. But still, it's starting to give problem. Let's check on 2/3, 0.06. It's already starts to be a limit. And on 1/3, it was 0%, that was fine. So we can see with the GFX, I would say safe is 2/3 on soft light and 1/3 on harsh light. Let's check the Canon. We're going to go straight to harsh light. Let's go to here, the one stop and a third. As you can see, it's 5.35% overexposed on the green channel, which is the one that is giving problem, and the blue starts also to give problems, okay? It means it's a lot more than the GFX. Let's check soft light. So here, same thing I would say on harsh light, you can go to a third extra. 2/3 start to give problems, okay? 1/3. And if we go on soft light, we can check, here it was 5, we see it's overexposed, yeah, 2/3. So we get the similar results, okay? Although the raw file from the Canon R is getting more damaged, and one stop and a third, the limits are really similar. So now we're going to check developments. The first thing you notice is that the files are damaged, okay? Can we recover them? Yes or no, we're going to see that. But the second thing you're going to see is that the Fujifilm GFX 100 S2 is less damaged than the Canon R. I actually made more tests with smaller sensors, even Micro Four Thirds, but I don't want to have a video that takes hours. And I noticed that the smaller the sensor, the more problem you get in highlights. And that gets to what I've always said. Small sensors do not give problem in low light, actually in shadows, but really in highlights. I've been using Micro Four Thirds for many years, and the problem is more in highlights than in shadows. Okay, that's important. So we're going to check the development, how to do it, and the result we get. But regardless of the software you want to use, you will see some work better than others, but regardless of the one you use, first of all, you must do a white balance, a color balance. Why? Because it will pull or push some channel, red, green, or blue, and that will affect some results. You may actually get an overexposed channel, and that's a problem. So first you must do that. Otherwise, you work for nothing if you do it at the end. Okay, so you start with the color balance. Now we want to go linear mode. So you should set it first, but linear mode, if you use Capture One, there is already a linear mode, so it's easy, you activate it and that's it. With Lightroom, there are no linear mode. You need to install a profile for that. I'll give you a link in description where you can download many linear modes that correspond to your camera. They even have iPhone, drones, and things like this. So you need to install it. There are some instructions there how to do it. And with irradiance, that I actually tested also, you just have to reset the curve and you're in linear mode. I didn't test all software because it would take hours, but we're going to check to see if that works and if we can recover these damaged files in highlights, okay? By the way, if you wanted to help me, don't forget I've activated the member area of my YouTube channel. There's a join button just below and you will get a small star next to your name, so I know you helped me, so I answer your question with priority. Also have affiliate links in description, please use them, that really helps me. And if you wanted to buy Luminar Neo or Petit by Skylum, you get a 10% discount with the code ERIC10. 10% on top of any offer they have. You still place the code and it's even cheaper for you. And with ERIC20, you get 20% discount on K&F website, where you will find all the accessories by K&F Concept and more brands. So use it, you save some money, that helps me, everyone is happy. Thank you so much. Let's carry on. So my Capture One is in Spanish, but no problem. Here you can see the small logo here. This is with the normal profile that comes with the camera. If I want to go to linear, I must go to this logo, style, curve, here, linear response. Then I should go to adjust and click on my white balance here and do it. Already did that for the rest of the picture, so it was done, but I just wanted to show you if you don't know how to do it. So this is my F8 picture. As you can see, as when you change the linear to linear mode, it gets a lot darker. So we're going to go directly to the F5, which is this one. F5, which is 1.33 EV, which is 1 stop and a third. And as you can see, as we saw on the raw analyzer, it starts giving problems here. Okay. Is it possible to fix this? Yes, you could get your highlights down and you get it. So you feel like, great, it works, 1 stop and a third, and that's fine. But decreasing the figures is easy. The thing is the details. So we need to check a bit more. You see the details here, okay? We're going to see if we get the same details at other exposure. We're going to go to 2/3 of a stop instead of 1/3 and instead of 1 stop and a third, okay? As you can see, this is really different. See, all these details, we actually lost them when we recovered highlights. So, is it a problem? It depends. If you have a white with texture in your picture, like here, yes, because you're going to eat up all the details. If the lightest color is maybe this brown here, then no problem. So it's important to see this. We speak about harsh light right now. So we can see that we can actually go up to 2/3 of a stop, not a stop and a third, okay? But now let's check if we go to, so I'll remove this, okay? Okay, as you can see, it was peaking already. We're going to look at soft light. We're going to go straight to 1 stop and a third, which is this one. And as you can see, we do see the details. We don't have the problem we had with the peaking, all this. So the conclusion here is, so far it's easy. It's harsh light, maximum 2/3 of a stop on this sensor, which is one of the best sensors on the market. Maybe the best, but it's the same as a Hasselblad one, okay? And if we want to have soft light, diffuse light, then we can go, yeah, that's right, 1 stop and a third, no problem. 1 stop and 2/3, it's not peaking. 1 stop and a third, it's okay. So for soft light, that's fine. For harsh light, it's not possible. So don't forget this. If you don't have any white with texture, it's not a bit darker than white, then that's fine. You have more margin. But if you're doing like a wedding dress, that's a problem. You're going to eat up the details. So now we're going to check for the Canon. So we're going to check Canon. It's already in linear. So I'm going to go straight to f5, which is 1 stop and a third. And we see it's a lot more overexposed than what we had before. And on the GFX, can I recover? Yes, you can. But yes, same thing, same story. You lose a lot more than on 2/3. Okay, as you can see, this is 1/3, 2/3. Okay, so on harsh light, it's not really recommended. So now let's go to soft light. Maybe it's a bit more light. F5, different exposure, doesn't matter. As we can see, it can stand a lot more. Here we have f5.6. As we can see, we can get up to 2/3 more or less. Okay, it means on harsh light about 1/3 over more exposed, and on soft light about 2/3 maximum. This is what we see. Okay. Well, with Lightroom there is no linear system in there. You need to import a specific profile, but I suspect this is a false profile or way of doing it. It simulates linear, but it's not linear. Let's go to f5. Which is this one, and as you can see, there's no warning. It's not overexposed. As you can see here, it is. Here not, okay? But 1 stop and a third is not overexposed. So you would think, oh great, that works, that's fine. But if you look at the details, you do have less details. So I do believe, as you can see, let's see it chart, because 102 million pixels. So you can see it. As you can see, there are more details. So I think it actually darkens the picture, but it's not really a real linear profile. So I believe it's not the right tool to use. If we go to diffuse light, we can go really further in lighting. More over 2 stops. I believe if you need to do linear raw development, Lightroom is not the tool to use, and actually that makes sense, because so many people are telling no, for linear Lightroom is no good, you should use Capture One, and I believe that's the situation right now. So I cannot give this developer as right. People will think it works, okay, but they don't realize it has already eaten up some details. So that's a big problem, because we know from the raw viewer that it should be peaking. It's not peaking here on the highlights. It means Lightroom is doing something. Just the linear is actually just darkening the file to make sure it doesn't peak, and that's it. And that's no good. So now we're going to check Irradiant. You can also do linear editing. You have to go here on exposure, reset all. Now it's linear, and I'm going to do the color balance, okay? And as you can see, we have the same thing as we had in the raw digger. It means the warning, and also in Capture One. So that makes me think that There is definitely a problem with Lightroom. This is a false linear editing, and it's not good because it actually eats up some details. Can I fix that? Yes, I can. Where do I go? Go back to panel. I can fix that this way. I'm going to lower the highlights. Okay, let's go here and check how it goes. Lower the highlights, brightness, okay, and maybe the extreme, okay. What do I see? It looks that it works, but actually it just changes the figures. It does not actually fix it. If I see that, I see I've got less details than on this picture. That is 2/3 of a stop. It was already beeping a bit. I'm going to go to have linear. Okay, go back. Let's put the right color. Also color here. Okay. Now I can check here. Oh, sorry, I left this on. Irradiant is a bit special to use, okay? So as you can see, I get more details. So that confirms first that the peaking we saw in the raw viewer was okay. The information was right. We see that we get the same thing as we get with Capture One, and that confirms two things. I could check also with soft light, but we're not going to bother as it looks like the same as Capture One. So it means if you have harsh light, 1/3, 2/3 of a stop, it's okay, depending on the camera. And with a soft light, you can go from 2 to a stop. That's the situation. So it's a bit disappointing because people speak about this as if it worked always, but clearly it does not. Several pieces of software, we see the problem is there. So a stop and 1/3 definitely is in soft light, yeah, you escape. But in harsh light, that's definitely not the way to measure light. That's clear. I see many people, they try to optimize the raw file doing this, changing the exposure, get more light than reality, but then they leave it as is. You need to replace things where they need to be. If you have a really dark part, it will become gray, and this is not the idea. The idea is to have a dark part again. But the difference is you get some details in there, you will get less noise. So when you replace, you lower the shadows, you will see more details and no noise. That's the difference when you actually want to lighten a dark area. This is when noise appears. So this is the idea, to drop everything back lower than when you took the picture. The same thing with the rest, mid-tone, highlights, all this. You need to get everything in its place, but you will get more details. This is why people try to do this kind of change in the exposure to get more details. The idea is not to leave it as is, because otherwise your picture looks overexposed compared to the reality. If this is what you want to do, you can, but the idea is to have the right exposure. So don't forget to place everything back where it has to be. Okay? Well. Seeing the raw development, two conclusions. The first one, Lightroom is not made for linear raw development. I think it's faking. It's creating some type of it seems to reduce the lighting, everything. So it looks okay. It switch off the warnings, but still we can see the texture is not there. So it is faking. So for me, Lightroom is great for many things, but obviously it's not good for linear development. When we look at Irradiant and Capture One, they work really giving similar results. And we do see that although we can recover the highlights, it doesn't recover texture. If we compare to other exposure, there are more texture there. So clearly there is a problem there. So for me, this system is cheating. It actually makes you think it works, but it doesn't work. Why? Because you do recover, but if you actually compare texture, details, you lose details. So why some people feel it works and recommend to use this? Well, first, probably because the picture they make, they don't have any white with texture, which would be a zone 7. Although in incident light, you don't use zone system, but with reflected you do. But that would be the zone 7, which is white with texture. 8, it's white with some, in this, I don't know, call that incipient texture, and zone 9 is pure white, okay? So when you have some white, let's say a wedding dress with some lace, this system is a killer. You would, you do see the dress, you would see some details, but not as much as if you exposed differently. So for me, the most you can go is 2/3 of a stop on soft light and 1/3 of a stop on harsh light. Pointing at the light. If you point at the camera, then you keep the reading of your light meter if you're on harsh light, and you can have 1/3 of a stop extra when you're on soft light. And actually, pointing at the light 1/3 of a stop is exactly what Dean Collins said 40 years ago. When you point at light, you can drop 1/3 of EV, open 1/3, okay? So that's confirmed. I think that's the way it is. So I think this system is no good because you feel it's going to work. It works in many situations because there is no really light colors or light tones, call them, because, well, gray is a color, okay? So you feel it works, and the day that is a key day for you with a wedding dress, some white, all this, and you put a stop and 1/3, you're going to kill everything. And when you're going to try to recover, you will recover some, but you will lose so many details you didn't even realize they were there. So honestly, I think this system is no good. Sorry for that. I wish it was, because it would be so easy. You point at light, a stop and 1/3, and that's it. Well, no. That would be great, but that's not. So as you can see, depending on the RAW developer, the result may be different, okay? Second, honestly, this is really going to the limit of the possibility, 1 stop and 1/3. So sometimes it's risky to do that. First, because we see it depends on the dynamic range of your sensor, depends on the situation. Obviously, if there is no white with texture, everything is darker, you're safe. And also the big problem with incident light, the big advantage is that it measures light exactly what it falls on your subject. So that's great. This is the real light, no doubt. But you don't take any advantage of reflected light that indicates you in the elements. Let's say the lightest part is white with texture. Well, this incident system is fine. But let's say the clearest or the lightest part is dark gray or dark brown or whatever. Well, you could actually get an exposure that would get a lot more details. But when you do incident light, it doesn't measure anything that comes back to your camera. It just gives you the light that falls on the scene, okay? When you do reflected light, you could take into account that the lightest part is already dark. So you would even get even more details in the dark part. But that's another story. I will make a specific video explaining the difference between incident and reflected light and when to use it and when it's an advantage, when it's an inconvenient. But honestly, I see some people that just mad about incident light. They think this is the only thing that exists. But when I hear that, I ask them, oh, so on Sunday, photojournalists, they go running on the football field to make light measure next to the face of the players to have the incident light? Obviously not. Obviously they use reflected light. Or if you're doing some landscape that is far away, you're not going to go next to the scene and measure the incident light. You do reflected light. So it's not that one thing is good, one thing is bad. Both are good or both are bad depending on the situation. So my conclusion. Well, we see that it works a lot more with diffused light because it's less contrasty. It's a bit like if the dynamic range was smaller on the picture, so you can grab more details everywhere, okay? And on spotlights, then it's more contrasty and it's more risky. Yes. If you're doing a wedding dress, as I said, you cannot play with to the limits, because if for any reason you make the measure the wrong way, then you're dead. Your picture has no details on the lace or whatever, that's a problem. And also, it's important to be really concentrated when you measure light. Let's say I measure light for my face. Here, this LED light is about 50 centimeters away. I put it here, okay, this is the light that gets to my face. I get the exact result. But let's say I'm speaking to someone, I measure just like this. Now it's about a third, but when the light is so close, maybe there's already half a stop difference. So in this case, no problem, it gets more light to the meter than to my face. My face will be underexposed, I can fix it, but no risk of overexposing, so that's fine. But instead of putting the light meter here, I just speak, I put it here. I get a lot more light on my face than on the light meter. So obviously, if I follow this measure here, obviously, maybe not my face, but my beard will not be, it will not be possible to recover the details. So it's so important. So if you are in an action situation, forget to go to the limit. This is too risky. It's when you are tranquil, you can measure light, or the person is not moving forward, backward, or it's a product. That's no problem. You can do it, but and be precise, really precise. If it says F8, it's F8. It's not F8 and a third, because if it's F8 and a third, and you think it's F8, and you add a third and a stop, then you one stop and 2/3, and you burnt. Okay, so it's really important. So honestly, I think it's important you test yourself with your camera, with your raw developer, to discover the limit. For me, the safe limit is on diffuse light plus 2/3 of a stop, no more. And with contrasty light, spotlight, 1/3 of a stop. Start with this, see the result you get, and then put on extra third, then on extra third, then on extra third, and see how far you can go and still recover the highlights. That's important. When you do your test, have a white with texture. Without that, you don't know where you're going. It's important. Use a towel or a shirt that has some lace or whatever, but you need to see if you're losing details or not. From the second you lose some details, then it's too far. Maybe for your camera it's one stop, maybe it's 1/3, maybe it's 2/3, maybe a stop and a third, but it depends on your camera and on your raw developing software. So I recommend you test. So I hope you like this video. Yes, it is retouching. People said that don't retouch, it's just out of camera. That's not true. When you play with this in post-production, this is retouching. That's the way it is. If you don't want to call it retouching, call it what you want. But this is retouching, okay? So I hope you understand now why maybe it didn't work for you. Maybe you understand now how to make it work for you and optimize your raw file to get the maximum details. And this is the greatest thing you can get if you want to have all the details in your picture. Soon I will make another video about the difference between reflected and incident light and the advantage of each and the inconvenience of each. I hope you like this video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, the small button down here and the small bell. If you click on the bell, you'll get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. I remind you I've activated the member area of my YouTube channel. And there's a small button down here, and you click there and it will add a small star next to your name, and I answer your question with priority. I also have affiliate links in the description. Please use them, and if you wanted to buy Luminar Neo or Petit by Skylum, get a 10% discount with my code ERIC10. On top of any offer they have, you still place your code, it's cheaper for you. And with ERIC20 you get 20% discount on K&F website, where you will find all the accessories by K&F Concept and more brands. So use it, you save some money, that helps me. This is fantastic. Thank you so much. Also, I'll leave you my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. Thank you very much. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.